Hi everyone, Silver Contrails here. I'm going to talk about new minecart station mechanics and some ideas that I have for that, based on the new snapshots and the incoming 1.3 update. So, as many of you know, dispensers now output minecarts immediately when they're activated, and a minecart will snap to a rail and then proceed along that rail if it's powered or on a slope. This allows us to do some very interesting things with minecart stations. In some instances, it does let us completely eliminate Pez dispensers. In other instances, you'll still want to use the normal Pez dispenser and use minecart dispensers in other places. So I'm going to discuss the differences between the two, which ones you'll want to use and where. So over here is an older minecart station that I built. It is heavily based on Tabby Rider's minecart station. It has a single line track switcher, which is really cool, and that's still very usable. To the left of this red and orange bar is the minecart dispenser system, and to the right is the track selector. So we're going to focus entirely on the left side. If you've seen my video of my normal world, my frontier world, you saw that I actually have this in my regular world that I play on for a legit build. And this is just what I did first in order to get my mind around what I was going to be building, so I didn't do anything stupid in an actual map. So this system does a couple things. First of all, it has a basic Pez dispenser, which you can see in the glass here. This sends the minecart, when a button is pressed, all the way up here into a waiting or staging area. Minecarts can be dispensed simply by pressing a button over here, which gets the cart. This sends the minecart along this rail. It then impacts the wall here and drops down into the waiting area where the player can step in and then send the minecart along. This minecart station is manually reloaded by placing the carts on this side. It also has a full cart detector, where once it's full, you can see that it powers redstone, making it so that every further cart will not be placed into this dispenser and can be led usually outside of the system so that you can destroy it or remove it and you know that your dispenser is full. You can also just use an indicator light, which is actually what I do. I use on my regular world, my survival world, I just use an indicator light rather than have it route the minecart. So basically this is what the system does. It's a pretty well set up system. And it lets you do a lot of things with a limited amount of space. It has a lot of functionality. It works very consistently. And it's pretty easy to build yourself. It does require a little bit of redstone. But if you watch his videos, they're very well explained. You'll figure them out real quickly. So, I went ahead and built this in my survival world, and not too much longer afterwards, we got wind of the update that was going to allow this to work. This was somewhat upsetting to me because I did spend a lot of resources to build that, and essentially this dispenser system can almost entirely replace everything you see here, because you've already got the manual reloading in this system, and I don't really need anything more than to basically put a dispenser up on this track right here. You can see where I'm walking along. So where I place this orange wool, if I put a dispenser there with maybe another powered rail, and I wired this wire up to here, that would be it. All of this that you see in here would be obsolete. So, needless to say, it was kind of a letdown, and at the same time, it was also really nice that we can finally have an efficient way to call our minecarts and have them staged into a loading area. Then we send them on their way. So as I said at the start of this video, this is a good setup, but you're not always going to want to use a dispenser like this. In fact, there are some instances where you're going to want something similar to that, but not identical. And I'll explain. Alright. We're going to pretend that the red is our base station. This is your station that you're going to put next to your home. It's where you're going to have maybe a really cool building, and it's where all of your minecarts are going to go. If you don't have a central station, then this system will be ideal for you anyways. But let's just pretend this is your starting station and this is your ending. So you have your departure and arrival. So we can see that by simply pressing the button, we send the minecart between both places. And this is just a simplified view of what you would have for your minecart system. Now clearly, if you want to just put a chest and have that full of your minecarts, so that if you arrive, let's say you went there and then you walked back and suddenly there's no minecart here, you can just open your chest, grab a minecart. The alternative, of course, is to use a dispenser. You simply press the button on the dispenser and it sends a minecart down from above or out of a wall, however you want to work it. You've got a lot of room to do some fancy tricks with that. And then you'll have a minecart arrived, and then you simply go to the next station on your minecart. And when you arrive there, there'll be 2 of them. You take one, you put it in the dispenser, there you go. Or you have it in your inventory, whatever. It's not too difficult. However, in some instances, you're going to have a problem with that. Like I said before, there is an issue where if you walk back, you don't have a minecart here. One way to get around that, well, and actually this isn't so much the problem, but it is that when you get here, there are a bunch of minecarts stacked up because you've walked back and forth so many times, and if you're not careful with what you're doing, it can be annoying to just constantly have to destroy the carts, put them in a chest, or put them in the dispenser. You can completely get around this and automate the entire system by using a Pez dispenser like we've seen before. So here's our departure station. We send the minecart along to our arrival station, and then we come back, and what happens? Our minecart, and my redstone updates cause a lot of lag for some reason. The minecart is stored in some kind of Pez dispenser or some kind of other storage system, and there are many kinds that you can look up. So now what happens? Well, if we send a second cart, yeah, it'll run into this. That's very true. However, we can expand this system. We can do some fancier redstone stuff. There's a couple different ways you can do it. Obviously, if you have a Pez dispenser, this works fine. This is something you can't do with a regular Minecraft dispenser. Once you bring the cart over to here, it's out of your way now. It'll be sorted into your Pez dispenser. If you send another cart, I'll go ahead and do that. If I was to send another cart this way, it would not do this, but it would be stored in a Pez dispenser, and I wouldn't have to worry about destroying it and putting it in the minecart dispenser. Now, when I do need a cart, in which I'll arrive here and I'll sit here and be like, oh, well, I need a minecart. So I simply press the button, and it readies a minecart for me. And then I can go off to my destination, and then arrive, and it's stored again. This is really helpful if you have multiple destinations returning to a single storage location. You're bound to have one minecart waiting for you when you get back, because you're sending carts from each of these areas And they're all going to be arriving usually in one departure area. And that's what you want. You want one departure area. You can have multiples, but that's a bit of a pain, and it really makes things not look very nice. This is the reason why I use the track selector developed by Tabby Rider. Not Tabby Raider. I usually call him Tabby Raider. Tabby Rider made this. It's really nice. It's a single line, and you can pick one of 3 destinations. If I want to go to the second destination, it'll go to the second destination, and I have it set up right now to return. Here's the first destination, and finally the third destination. And I actually think it didn't go all the way last time, and I have to be in it for it to get all the way there because of momentum. And this is all based on timing. This is really nice, and I suggest that everyone use something similar, and you can look up Tabby Rider's videos to see how exactly this is set up. It's a little space conscious. You can definitely do it better than I did, because I was just toying with it at first. It uses redstone spacing, so it might take up a little bit more space than you want, but in the end, it's an extremely nice way to go out with this. Lots of redstone though, but if you're building with minecarts, you're going to encounter that. So like I said, you can have 3 destinations, or you can put it all into one destination, in which case that system, it's going to work. You're just going to have minecarts bunching up, which again is the reason that you'd want to run some kind of a Pez dispenser where the minecart instantly goes into the Pez dispenser when you're done. And usually, for instance, if it's stopped here, if you could get it to stop on this platform and then jump off, hits pressure plate, and sends the minecart on its way, the minecart goes to the Pez dispenser. That's the classic way to set this up. It's pretty easy, pretty basic. It doesn't take too much time to think about, and it looks really nice. Very functional. For SMP multiplayer, it's really important that you get minecarts out of the way, because you have minecarts coming and going from every direction. Depending on the size of your server, you're probably going to want multiple tracks anyways for going out and coming back. A single line switchyard probably isn't going to work best. You're going to have a much larger system. And I'm going to destroy this minecart so I stop getting lag. There we go. And that's a whole different beast. So yeah, to recap, minecart dispenser systems are best used in situations like this, where you have one minecart coming and going through one destination usually. If you have a lot of walking back and forth where you're going to have your minecarts confused and messed up, it might be better to go stick with a regular Pez dispenser that sorts the minecarts immediately, if you don't want to bother with destroying them especially. And most of all, if you have multiple destinations returning to one single area, you're also going to want a single Pez dispenser. Or you're also going to want something similar to this with a Pez dispenser rather than a minecart dispenser. And lastly, for all of these locations, it's really easy to put a minecart dispenser on the other side, and that can be your something, again, like this from your departure station, or from your arrival stations, where you simply send this down and then you go off on that. Pretty basic stuff. Easy to do. You don't have to worry about making a big station wherever you need to put an arrival area. And that's what I would suggest, at least. So yeah, I will show you this really quickly. This is a version of a Pez. I guess it's not a Pez dispenser. I'm not really sure what you call it. Minecart storage area, where a minecart entering the area will sort itself. And then you can send a redstone signal down this line, and trigger all the minecarts to move up one, and then this one will lead to your to the area where the player is going to get in, the departure platform. And that is again basically something like this system, where you're going to have multiple places to put your carts. You're going to have a cart here, a cart here, a cart here. That system's a little inconsistent, a little bit off, and you will have to probably run a second track changer, something similar, which you have many options for. It's something that you shouldn't worry about too much. So yeah, that's my video on Pez dispensers and minecart dispensers in terms of building minecart stations. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more, I guess technical oriented videos from me, then leave a comment about that. I'll be sure to get to my Let's Play very soon. So, until next time then.